Welcome to French Connection Academy's FCA Podcast. I am Emilie Callesen-Dulcé, and I'm the director and founder of French Connection Academy. And today we will be joined by the guest Jonas Rasmussen, who is a Danish choir conductor who has built an excellent community with several choirs, both amateur and professional singers. And we're really happy to having him visit us today, because we're going to talk about leadership, building something from scratch, and also inspiring others and daring to follow your own path. So welcome, Jonas.
Thank you so much.
And, for those who are discovering you for the first time, who are you in your own words?
I am Jonas. I'm a Danish choral conductor. I live in Aarhus in Denmark, and I currently direct two choirs, a youth choir, a mixed youth choir in the cathedral in Aarhus, and a mixed adult choir called Academic Choir Aarhus. And then I teach at the Royal Academy of Music here, choral conducting. And then I do a lot of freelance stuff. As of like half a year ago, I also create content for Instagram and YouTube. And that is a whole new adventure for me that is filling most of my time at the moment.
Hey. So with all of these activities going on, what would you say is your musical mission today?
I think there are multiple directions to go here, because like overall, the main mission is probably to just communicate how wonderful choral music is. And that is both with the audience, but just as much with the singers. So, when I get young singers into my choir, they're not necessarily very experienced. They haven't been exposed to a lot of choral music. So my main mission for them and for my students is to open their eyes to the wonders of choral music. And that is not only the art of choral music, but also the heart of doing choral music, of participating in choral music. So that is what I spend my time doing, really trying to get people together and do great choral music.
Wonderful.
And I think that is one of the greatest things about choral music, that it's so accessible to a lot of people. Everybody has a voice and everybody has an instrument, and everybody can join, of course, on different levels. But there is something about choral music that is just, the entrance barrier is so low that you can come and participate in high art. So that's what I really love about my field of work. That is, it can cover all different levels.
That is quite amazing. It's really, really nice. And how did you find this path of yours?
So from the beginning, I was a pianist. I played piano since my early childhood and was very ambitious at some point and participated in competitions throughout Europe. And at some point, I just realized that I was never going to be as good as I wanted to. So I kind of just dropped music completely and went on to high school and thought I was going to do different stuff, become a journalist, become a lot of other things. All the while, I was still in choir. When I was at boarding school at age 15, 16, I experienced being in a choir for the first time. And I had always been very envious of my peers from early childhood who were playing violin and cello, because they could be in an orchestra. And for me as a pianist, I was not allowed in that kind of group. So I was always cheerleading from the audience. And whenever the orchestras that my friends were going on tour, I just begged to come with them, just to carry instruments and be like a cheerleader. So I missed being a part of a musical group. And I remember that being in choir for the first time, just being in the room while people were warming up, that sound of people coming together just to sing in unison, would just completely blew my mind. And I knew almost instantly that I was going to explore the possibilities of choir. So when I dropped piano, I still sang in choir. I sang in the boys' choir in the cathedral in Aarhus. For me, that was a very transformative experience. I met Carsten Sejer Hansen, who was the cathedral cantor at the moment, at that period of time. And he was very inspiring. And
Great
when I
guy.
thought I was going to be everything like other vocations, I just kept coming back to the music. I couldn't really go without participating in music in some form. And I think for me, it was a long way to be in the choir. There's a long way from being in the choir to standing in front of the choir. And that journey is very interesting and something that I think most conductors go through. For me, I'm very introverted. So just being in front of people at that time was very dangerous and frightening. And I got my first choir when I was 19. I conducted a bunch of retired people out in a suburb of Aarhus. And at my second rehearsal with them, I fainted during the
Oh,
warm-up because I was so nervous. Just being in the room and taking charge, being responsible for the music with them. It was very daunting and has taught me so much about myself as a leader as well. I really think it's something that everybody should experience, to stand
to faint.
to stand in front of a group of people and teach, even though you're not really comfortable with what you're
makes
doing.
more sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with the result of fainting.
No, exactly. And they
Oh,
drove me to
yeah.
the hospital as well, and
Wow.
it was a whole big thing.
So
So
you learned the hard way these things, but I do agree it can be incredible, this feeling of standing in front. Like I had a youth orchestra conductor who was like, yeah, now today you're going to try to conduct each other. It was amazing.
yeah,
I remember receiving the sound. It's really quite something because
you
it's
really
a
get the best
mirror.
spot in the audience.
Yeah, you can say. So this choir tradition we have in Denmark is quite special. As a fellow Dane, I can also witness. I grew up with church choir. I've always been. I was also a church singer for a little while. So for me, it's very very dear to my heart. Everything choir. It can do something quite special. And we also have this wonderful choir as Nova and everything. So it's like what makes this Danish choral tradition so special in your eyes?
I think from my point of view, having studied in Sweden, where they have a great choir tradition, and then after that in England, in Cambridge, where the choir tradition is just crazy. It's very easy to see the shortcomings of the Danish choral tradition. But I also think we have something special going on with our concept of communal singing, where we have a very important book in our cultural heritage called the Højskolesangbogen, which is a book. It's actually the most sold book in all of Denmark.
Really? Of
And
all
yeah,
books?
of all books.
Oh.
And of course, it's because every library, every school, has to have many of these. So it makes sense. But it's like in that book of like 500 songs, we have our cultural heritage, like in one single book. And in Denmark, we often bring out the book and we sing a song before a meeting, before we gather around, before a warm-up in choir. And it's just singing in unison. Like somebody can sit at the piano and accompany, but the actual act of singing together, where there is no artistic like ambition, but it's just the act of singing together. I feel like that's quite special for Denmark. Maybe it's not, but we just do it a lot. And it's very much because of this book that is so popular. And they make a new version every 10 years. And it's the highest honor of all to be included in the book, both for composers and authors. Because, if you're in that book, you're kind of a part of the soul of the cultural heritage.
That's quite something.
that is where I think most of our singing tradition is coming from. And then, of course, we have wonderful church choirs all around the country coming together to sing every Sunday. And we also have a quite strong amateur choir tradition, people who are meeting once a week and just coming together, learning a few songs, and then do a concert every half year, every semester. And that is also something we do quite regularly. But I will also say that I am very envious of, for example, Sweden and England, who has very good education for especially children, which we are lacking, unfortunately, in Denmark quite a lot.
Yeah. That is a chapter we can talk about a bit later.
Yeah.
The political prioritization of music education for kids in Denmark.
Yeah.
Wow. But do you see part of your work as lifting the Danish culture through the choral music?
Absolutely. I really feel like, especially in choral music, we have many, many high-profile composers composing great music in Danish for choirs. And we have had that for a long time, ever since Carl Nielsen. And that makes us a country with a very rich tradition that I am proud of and that I feel like I'm working to maintain and evolve every day. So I always try to include Danish pieces in my programming, and I always try to commission new pieces by Danish composers to see where our tradition is heading. I feel like it's one of the most important parts of my work to promote and to evolve the Danish choral tradition.
That's so nice. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
And you conduct both professional singers. I've seen also you had before, at least, I don't know if it's still there. I saw on your website.
I have a small group.
Yeah, you have
a small group of 12 singers.
Yeah.
It's very new, and we're still trying to get it on their wings. Definitely in the coming years, this group, Ensemble Novum, will do a lot more projects. And it's 12 professional singers.
Amazing. So it's actually an upcoming project.
Yeah, it's very upcoming. We've had 2 projects so far.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's upcoming. But it's amazing. So how do you unite so different kinds of singers and lead them towards goals? How do you do that?
I think it's not too different, actually, for all the levels. So as a conductor, so much goes into preparing the scores, preparing the music. Because when you're in front of a choir, you have to have such a clear imagination of how you want the music to be. And that is not something that is exclusive for professionals. That is also for very beginners and amateurs. You have to have a clear goal of where you want people to head towards. Everything that happens in a rehearsal is just ways to achieve that goal, basically. So of course, you have to react to what happens in the room, but it always has to kind of have a connection with your vision. So for my young singers, I am always quite surprised at how much I can demand of them. So they have a habit of exceeding my expectations, which I love.
That's quite amazing.
So my vision for them is no less than for my professional singers.
Wonderful.
I think that is part of the secret why they are so successful, because they also like to feel that they are good at something. And they take pride in being good at what they are achieving. So building a very strong craft, and this is something I talk about in almost every rehearsal, that choir music is not just coming together and sing for fun and then we go home. It's actually building skills. It's building cooperation skills, obviously singing technique skills, developing your ears, developing all sorts of cooperation between the singers. And it's something everybody can learn. It's not something you're born with, but it's very much a craft and skills that we are working on every week. So when they have been in my choirs for a couple of years, they've probably heard all my tricks and all my everything
Yeah.
I have to say. But then it's just a matter of you can always do more and you can always work towards mastering. It's like playing an instrument, you always practice your scales.
We try.
Yeah.
Try to keep the one to do it. But yeah, actually, it's funny
But
how scales also
I do
becomes
that with the professional singers as well.
yes.
So just
Yeah.
going back to the basics all the time. I think that's
Yeah. Actually,
that's the secret.
all of a sudden, basics become so enjoyable when you have less and less time to work on your instrument. Then all of a sudden, a scale can be the most. It can be such a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
It's really strange how it changed from the conservatory time where it's like, oh, I have to do 1.5 hour of scale. But
Yep.
what does great choir culture look like in your eyes?
Are you thinking on a national level or in like in a choir?
Within a
In a
choir.
choir.
Yeah.
I think there's something in a choir that is very important, and that this probably goes for orchestras as well, and that is to equally be aware of the musical element, but also the social element of being in a group. I cannot demand of my singers to practice at home if they are not looking forward to the day of the choir every week. It has to be something that they enjoy. It has to be something that they want to come back to. And it has to be something that they want to excel at. So, and of course, the music is important, but if they are not comfortable in the group setting, if they don't have any friends in the group, if it's not a safe place to be, it's really not a good choir culture. And that if it's not a safe place to be, then it's so difficult to build a musical result that is satisfying. So that is core in my philosophy, to build a choir culture where everybody is safe, everybody looks forward to coming again, and really take pride in being in that group.
That's so nice. I like that. It resonates deeply with also what we do with our academy and the French Connection Academy, and that it is so important in order to learn and being able to learn, just for the brain not to be in stress.
Yeah.
You have to
Exactly.
feel safe. And it's actually quite few people who can excel in stressful environments. It just becomes like a survival skill, and then the rest is just like falling apart,
Exactly.
Listen, we're also a bit here to kill the myth of classical musicians has to suffer, and the black school. Did you practice your skills?
Yeah.
It works for very few, but so many they fall apart, and it's really sad to see the amount of musicians that has been suffering under a scary teacher. Or it's so important.
I agree.
It's really nice to see that you are focusing so much on creating this healthy environment.
And I think if we're going to my Instagram, where I upload mainly warm-ups and exercises, I think that is what really resonates with people. I think I was very surprised at the reception of these videos, because it's been overwhelming. But
It's quite incredible.
It's very incredible. But I think some of the things that people see is that obviously we're having fun. And we cannot have fun if people are not safe.
No.
And I really encourage my singers always to make mistakes and to be brave and make mistakes. And sometimes I even design my exercises to be so difficult that I am sure that everyone fails.
Very good.
Yeah. So this becomes the exercise, to fail with grace and just be comfortable in, this was this was interesting. Let's never do this again. And then let's just move on.
Yeah.
I think that is such a valuable lesson, to drop all the barriers to be perfect and just give it a go. Because that directly translates to when we have our music in our hands and we are going to sight read, for example. If you do not dare to make mistakes, you will never sing in sight reading, and you will never learn to sight read.
That's very true.
And so this becomes also a core part of what I do in choir, and that translates well to Instagram videos because people are seeing us having a lot of fun and a lot of fun with failing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually. I like the approach a lot, and the more fun learning is, the better, because, it's keeping the traditions alive. So we will maybe go a bit towards, conducting and teaching. And so now you are teaching in the conservatory. And so just for any instrumentalists who are also wondering, because we in French Connection Academy, for the moment, we have string players and pianists. And sometimes people might wonder, like, what is the difference between conducting a choir and conducting an orchestra? Could you explain that a bit, or?
Yeah, sure. I don't have a lot of experience with orchestras. I do have some. And there are obviously some core differences also with the tradition of coming into rehearsal. And, orchestras are typically more people and the distance is bigger.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reasons why orchestra conductors use a baton and choir conductors often don't. I think the main difference for me is choir singers always sing text. And in my conducting, I kind of feel the text. I feel like I have a connection to all the vowels, all the consonants in my movements. And I try to conduct very little about when to do something and much more about how to do something. And I guess that's the same for orchestral conductors. But somehow in choir, that how to do something is very, very tactile and very much in the fingers and in the consonants and small. You can always almost feel the mouth movements in your fingers. I feel like in orchestra conducting that it can be a bit more, you have to, you're both conducting string players who has this kind of motion, and you have wind players who do another kind of body function. So you have to have some kind of more all-encompassing gestural approach. And I would be very interested to hear an orchestra conductor talk about this as well, because I think there can be some kind of orchestra conductors says choir conductors cannot conduct orchestra because it's always get too soft and too, lose limbs. And probably choral conductors would say the same about orchestras, that when an orchestra conductor is coming, it's very hard to sing to because it's often very a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a different impulse also.
Yeah.
I think singing, for example, if you have attention somewhere, it becomes difficult to sing. You have to have a very, very loose, you have to open a lot.
Yes.
All of this. And string players already here, we have often tensions that we always try to have less and less of, to have a better feeling and to get more resonance.
Yeah.
But of course, it's a different mechanism. The body is so free when you sing. And I think that's also a very, very big difference somehow.
Yeah.
We have a translating joint that makes that our bodies, how many violinists doesn't have pain after 25 years of orchestra, So there's also, I think that it also makes a difference in the gestures and this translating joint that we have. So I have also another question, of course, as this is. So what is, when you then teach conducting, do you have some principles that you pass on in particular? And what is your approach when you teach?
When I get new students, the first thing I will do is observe what they're coming with. We're all different, and we're all we move our body differently. So it would be such a shame for me to say, this is how to conduct. I will always look at the student, see what they're coming with, and see how they can optimize that in order to achieve what I think they want to achieve. And of course, there are some habits that everybody has and that we probably need to get rid of, like too big motions and hands that are going everywhere and less is more and all that. But often I think that it's not one solution fits all. People have to find their own way. And conductors do. I mean, you can be taught this is how you do a cutoff, but you have to kind of stand in front of the choir and feel how it feels to do a cutoff and make your own decisions about what feels good, what works for me. So conducting is weird because, yes, we can do some conducting technique and we have some best practices, but it's also very personal, and why you get a different sound from all the conductors, that if you put another person in front of the choir, you will get a different sound. And this is so weird, but it's also so interesting. And I really try to encourage that, to explore your own sound. A very important aspect is to watch yourself on video, because almost nobody really do what they think they do, basically.
It translates to instruments as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I made a huge
imagine.
crescendo.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
It happens a lot. Oh, I love my stage presence. I'm very there. And then it's just you're standing still and not doing anything. It's
That's so true. It's so true.
We have that in common. So what do you think instrumentalists can learn from the choral world, in your opinion?
Good question.
And that can both be in orchestras or ensembles or soloists or...
I don't know. My thoughts about orchestras is, I think there can be quite a lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong, quite a lot of internal competition.
Yes.
And
a lot.
Yeah. And for some reason, obviously that can happen in choirs too. But for some reason, I think, and I don't know why this is, but I feel like in most choirs, there's a more collaborative sense of ensemble. And I think maybe the orchestra world could learn a little bit from this, that we are not individualists, but we are very much a voice part. So for example, if we have a piece of music and I feel like the altos are not really sounding like one group, I will definitely do some alto work, and I will ask them to kind of find a common sound and just to completely eliminate their ego. And I would actually say that in rehearsal, like, you cannot be stubborn in a choir. You have to be collaborative. So I would do exercises in finding that common sound that this group has together. I don't know if this translates to orchestra as well, but I feel like because people are practicing hours and hours in their own little personal rehearsal room, it can easily become quite individualist. And here I am with my instrument and I'm contributing with what I can, but also sometimes forget the collaborative idea of ensemble.
I think there are many reasons to why, because of course I think a lot of orchestra musicians out there also loves the collaborative part, and they love being in orchestra because that's why they're there. But at the same time, there are so many stories often of I don't know, there are many conflicts, and it's also a bit normal. It's 50 people becoming kind of a family over 50 years, or so it's 50 people, there are bound to be some frictions, but
of course
I do believe that the social work of orchestras can improve more in some orchestras than others. No, some orchestras are amazing. They do a great work having a good social atmosphere. But of course, I think also the whole way, just the fact, how do you earn your spot in an orchestra? It's extremely competitive. Of course, it's the most extreme competition. Like, I think that it kind of exists beyond the Queen Elizabeth competition, because it goes on for the rounds. And then when you finally get your post, your spot, then you have to earn it within a year. You have to win it again for a whole year. And I think that creates something that it's a natural thing, but there's something about this earning your spot, and now you have it for life, and you I think it's easy to become protective of how you think the orchestra should be afterwards, and
Yep.
ownership is a strong thing when you finally get your spot. So I think what you say, the ego thing, can be easy to fall into.
Mm.
And there's different. I think depending on how much experience you have. I did not play in 1,000 orchestras, but I did play in some, and I think there are some work to do. So, especially on the social side, but yeah,
There is in every group.
Yeah, it is always a bit a sore spot to talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's move on. not to hurt too many people with this.
Yeah.
So Nu, I would like to ask you a bit about your entrepreneurial life. Go a little bit into the machine room, because this
Yep.
is something that you only learn by doing, and it's good for people to know if they're dabbling in the thoughts of maybe creating their own freelance path. So you juggle with teaching, conducting, composing, creating content. So how does your typical work week look like, if you can kind of elaborate a bit?
Yeah. It's very different, obviously. I have my main points which is youth choir on Monday and academic choir on Thursday. That's like very
Different.
far apart in the week, which is nice, I think, because you can always shift your focus. I think these two ensembles takes a lot of time from me to just maintain. And of course, there's the musical preparation, but that is such a small part of just managing many people. There are in total 80 people in these two choirs. And if I really am serious about building the ensemble identity and having a good social environment, it is not enough to just show up on Monday at rehearsal and say, let's do this. I always come in an hour early for rehearsal and talk to people. And I usually stay after rehearsal, drink a beer and all that. But also just the in-between, all the work that is going on behind the scenes. Every choir member has to be in a sort of committee that has different responsibilities. And I'm a part of many of those committees, like choosing repertoire and fundraising and selling concerts and planning for PR, doing social media, all that stuff. Luckily, I'm not involved in every committee, but
it sounds like a lot, yeah.
it's a small company actually, and you build a company culture, and everybody is working just without pay, which is amazing because that creates a kind of they want to be a part of it, and they really take responsibility for the choir as a whole. So back to the work week. I then teach 1 day a week at the Royal Academy in Aarhus. And then all the other hours kind of just goes by in like a blur of half doing what I want and doing what I have to. Preparing for upcoming projects, composing, arranging. I usually try to get up early just to get the day going, because when you have choir, it's always in the evening. So you can easily just, sleep in. And so, yeah, I usually try to get up and get some work done in the morning as well. But most of my work happens in the weekends. And of course, for the rehearsals during the week. So around Tuesday, Wednesday, that is my weekend, where I try to have a little bit of downtime and a little more just, time for myself.
I get that. That's very good. Healthy.
Time
off. Time off. It's very difficult to do when you do your own entrepreneurial journey. It's so important.
Yeah.
How do you balance freelance work and the steady employment? Do you like the balance how it is right now?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the freelance work that I do is workshops. That I go to a choir that I don't know and they don't know me, and we have maybe a day or a weekend together. And I can basically just use all the tricks in my book because they don't know me. Yeah. And so everything I say is new to them. But I also find that I really need to reinvent myself all the time, because that gets so boring at some point.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
that's where my ensembles, the choirs I direct on a regular basis, comes in, because I am forced to reinvent myself every week. And because I get bored myself so easily, I always try to come up with new, warm-up exercises, which is the thing I put on Instagram, but also just new ways to rehearse, new repertoire, new ways to do things, just not to get stuck.
Yeah.
And I have this mantra in my choirs that we are not a recycling repertoire. And it does not hold up 100%, but I really try to just throw new stuff at them all the time.
Amazing.
Just to not get too stuck in the same pieces and the same habits.
When a new member comes, they get this folder with, this is the choir songs. This is our Christmas concert.
Exactly.
How do you approach building support for your projects, like with the fundraising part and in general?
So my new choir, the professional vocal group, I right now I have to do everything myself. Down the line, I hope to create a small team.
That's always the...
Exactly. But obviously, things like fundraising takes a lot of time. And I think mainly just doing it, speaking to people that are in charge of handing out the funding, to ask them what works and what they're looking for, and try to tailor the applications for that is what I feel like I have had the most success with.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to reach out to the people in charge.
Yes, to ask them questions.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very important. And
you mean foundations or universities or
foundations?
Foundations in general, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really get funding from the Royal Academy or the university at all. My ensembles are completely self-funded by the singers are paying to sing in the choirs, and also we have concerts income.
Yeah.
So yeah, the projects I apply to is from foundations.
Yeah, I see. And in Denmark, we are lucky. There are many. In other countries, for example, I heard in Poland there's one.
Oh.
So we are lucky in Denmark. There's, I think, more than 5,000 foundations, not just for culture, but in general, that people can apply money from. It's incredible somehow. So what non-music skills have turned out to be a crucial thing in the making of your artistic life?
What I was just touching was my ability to hate being bored. And I get so easily bored that I just, without even knowing, I just try to do things in a new way. And I think that is a non-musical skill, but it really translates well to not fall in the pit of, this is what I'm used to doing. Let's do it. It keeps things fresh, and it keeps the singers that have been in the choir for many years, it keeps them engaged. So they don't necessarily know what is coming all the time. It's always something a little different. And obviously you cannot reinvent yourself all the time, but you can at least try to.
Yeah. And for your choir tours, you win competitions and then you get this visibility online. And so how have you built this audience for this choral music when we go move towards your Instagram accounts?
Yeah. So the story about Instagram was, for a long time, especially with my youth choir, I thought so many people would benefit from seeing how we do things. So I started recording a small mini documentary about how is a normal rehearsal day for us. From people are coming to eat their dinner together, and what we do for warm-ups, and how we are handling all sorts of stuff.
You eat dinner together before?
I mean, we have what we call a cafe where you can just bring your dinner.
Yeah, that
was something cozy. I tried to get the people doing, because we had such a problem with people getting in late. So I figured if they're there before rehearsal start, it should be possible to get them in the room at the right time.
It's a good strategy. Food.
Yeah. Food is a good strategy.
Yeah.
Also, I have every member of the choir sing in a quartet. So, and they are expected to go and rehearse by themselves in that quartet, choose a song that they want to sing. And then at some point during the semester, they have to sing it in front of the whole choir.
Amazing.
And
Nice.
I mean, stuff like that is what I think people would benefit from seeing. And then I started recording this mini documentary, and I just thought that it's too much in one video. So I asked, what is easy to put online? It's probably what we do at the beginning of each rehearsal, just to warm ups. So I asked the board of the choir if I'm allowed to put up a camera, and they said, yeah, you can do that if you think people will find that funny. And so I did. I did, and I put a few videos online. And I think the third video I put out was just exploded. Like really, it went viral. And that was when my Instagram began to grow the audience. You know, before I posted these warm-ups, I had 2,000 followers. And then it just started exploding. So after a few
Amazing.
weeks, I had 15,000. And I thought, well, maybe people can relate to what we're doing. And maybe people think our approach to warm-ups and our approach to exercises could probably benefit a lot of choir conductors out there. So let's just go all in and see where this is headed. So I basically dropped what I had in my hands and just went all in on documenting all our warm-ups and putting them online. And now I think I have maybe 50 videos online and just reached 110,000 followers.
It's quite a lot.
And yeah, it's crazy. And I think it's the combination of getting inspiration for what to do and seeing someone having fun. And just seeing the excitement that the music making can build.
Yeah. Because for choir conducting, I've never seen anything like this. And also, classical pianist or violinist would love to build this 100,000 followers and from just their music, So it's just nice to see that this is something that is working for you, at least in this, the wanting to share and inspire and showing something very real from your warm-ups. And that clearly has been resonating for more people, not just choir professionals, but I guess also...
Exactly. I think also for singers, because they see this and they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cool. I would like to be a part of your choir.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a lot of fun. So I just live a little bit too far. How do your international bookings and collaborations come about? Is it through networks or competitions? Or how do you this international?
So after the Instagram exploded, I have received so many offers from international people of coming to different countries and doing workshops and so on.
Amazing.
Before that, the international network I had was from competitions, absolutely. Just going to competitions and doing well there, and then speaking to the jury members and, slowly building a network of esteemed choral conductors that you kind of know and respect and follow.
Yeah.
And I've had some great experiences with people just going there to visit them and see what they're doing and getting inspiration.
Wonderful.
So that has been my strategy to go out and learn as much as possible from people I admire.
Wonderful.
And yeah, now I'm starting to get bookings, and I just signed a contract for November 27, and we're in September 25 as of this moment. So it's a completely different ball game now after the Instagram thing, which is fun.
Yeah. New opportunities and adventures, and yeah, it's no secret I love traveling, so
Yeah.
I wish you the best for these endeavors.
Yeah, I love traveling as well.
It's incredible. And did you, following your own path and building this career, what gave you the courage to follow your way?
That is a great question. In Denmark, we have this called the law of Jante, which is,
Horrible.
yeah, it's a horrible law which says you're not supposed to believe that you are anything.
Yeah.
You're not special. You are basically a nobody. And whenever you are putting yourself out there, some people will say, oh, he thinks he's so interesting or he's so brilliant or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think overcoming that is actually quite a big challenge.
It is.
And also, you will get haters. You will get nasty comments on things you put out or people who want to do things differently. And I just think you have to be brave and you have to give yourself credit for just putting yourself out there, because the people commenting are not putting themselves out
No.
there. So they
They
are.
wish you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that is just something that has taken me many years, I think, to be comfortable with. And now I'm so comfortable in my own, my own abilities as a choral conductor that I feel like I know what I'm doing, and I feel like I can justify the things I put online.
Yeah.
And I'm not just winging it anymore. I was in the beginning, as we all are.
Yeah, of course.
Very few people have any idea about what they're doing, and I just think that's a part of being human. Just to go out there and do your thing and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
And that is what I do. And
Yeah.
I hope to expand my content creation, not just about warm-ups, but also more about conducting and more about choral music in general.
And your podcast.
And my podcast as well.
Yeah.
So just, really doing an all-encompassing social media profile that is about choral music and not just warm-ups.
Yeah. I get
that is my hope for the future.
That sounds so nice. And by the way, the law of Jante, I live in France. It's difficult to explain this to French people because they cannot believe that this is real. Like, they're like,
really?
Is this roof that's horrible?
Yeah.
And it is horrible because it
really is.
It's strangling creativity and I would also say identity, because I think I love Denmark. I had to leave Denmark to get rid of this. And I live in France now, and I love the fact that I'm allowed to be proud here. Allowed to be proud. It's a good one.
Yes.
And
you should be proud.
Yeah.
I mean,
you too, I'll say.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that, because I've been to the US a few times, and you can say many bad things about the US, but I really just enjoy being in that country. And I feel, for some reason, I feel like the best version of myself when I'm in the US. And I wonder, right? At some point, I'm probably gonna live there. I imagine that for the future.
Wow.
Because whenever I'm coming home from the US, I'm thinking, damn, there's something in Denmark that is just a little bit wrong. And I think it's the law of Jante coming in again.
Yeah.
It's a little small.
It's and it's it's something I really wish for my home country. I think that's also why I put my academy in Denmark. It was with the intention of opening up and giving place to be yourself and be free, loud and proud, find your voice.
Yes.
Dare to dream. And even when we scout for students and when they are making the application, they have to do a little 2-minute, max 2 minutes, where they talk about their dreams. What do you dream of?
Yeah, nice.
Because I want to hear that. I want to hear what they are dreaming about, and these things it's everything. And I wish for my home country. It's my deep wish that we begin to. It's very the law of Jante is very deep, and it's very subtle. And it's not something we can see without having lived there, I think. For foreigners, don't see it when they visit Denmark. At least
probably not, no.
Not after a while. My husband did not see it at all in the beginning. And now we work more and more in Denmark, so then he begins to see it a little bit. But it is
Yeah.
very, very deeply integrated. And I think people are not even aware sometimes that they are
No.
actually contributing. And I feel sometimes that I have thoughts that is from that. Like, oh, he thinks
Yeah, I
he's
think it's
arrogant.
it's very internal as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a part of my
upbringing.
thought system and
Yeah.
upbringing and something I also try to be very aware of. Yeah, because it's very
That's
ingrained.
We ended up having a. I didn't plan for this, but we ended up talking about the law of Yende. But it's good, people will
Yeah,
learn about it. It's a part of the North. It's not only in Denmark, actually, also in Sweden. So,
very.
okay, I would like to hear what inspires you outside when you're not a musician, when you don't conduct choir. What inspires you and recharge your batteries outside of music?
I have a huge passion for escape rooms.
I saw.
Yeah, and I travel the world to play the best escape rooms there is, and I just freaking love it. It's the problem solving, obviously, but for those that don't know what an escape room is, it's
Yeah,
the core concept is that you get locked up in a room for an hour and you have to solve riddles to get out.
very cozy.
But yeah,
No, but it
but
is.
but the
It's quite fun.
concept has just changed very much during the years.
Mm.
So now for the best rooms in the world, it's not just solving puzzles. It's the whole storytelling of being put in a room where you are the main character, basically, in a movie. And for the best rooms, they have actors, and it's more of an kind of an immersive theater experience
Mm.
with riddles, more than it's just you go into a room and solve a bunch of riddles.
Yeah.
I love the immersion, and I love just seeing the creativity of all the escape room owners in the world to see what they come up with. It's such amazing, passionate people who are just really spending a lot of money to give people the experience of their lives.
That's
And
quite
I love that
something.
about it.
And also,
Also, the collaboration.
there's
Yeah,
something
sorry.
for everyone. There's something for everyone because there's so many escape rooms now that there are people with military interest, or the O'Brien Barriers has made an escape room, and
Yeah, really
there's something for
cool.
every interest. It's really fun.
Yeah. So many themes, so many
Yeah,
themes.
the horror ones, they're really creepy sometimes, but also quite funny. It's like a haunted house, and then you also have to use your brain. It's
Exactly. I mean, I've played some of the rooms in the world that are rated most scary, and I can confirm that you cannot use your brain when you're afraid. It's impossible.
Ay, ay,
Yeah.
ay. So we have a few closing reflections. So what
Yeah.
excites you mostly about the future of choral music?
So this is a big one. I think now we are seeing the rise of AI, and we are looking into a future where many jobs will be obsolete because AI can do it. And my hope for the future, and it might be naive, but I think my hope would be that many people will have more free time, more spare time to enjoy pastime activities and get to experience the kind of group bonding there is in a choir. So if you don't have to work that many hours, and also most of the communication we do will be with an AI, you just have a big group of people who are hungry for human connection.
Mm,
And the human connection is so easily achieved in a choral setting because you
yes,
come together, you collaborate, you have that sense of belonging and
mm,
contributing to a higher
cause.
thing.
Yeah,
And it's totally analog, except the iPads for your scores, maybe.
yeah.
But
Wow. If you insist.
yeah, I mean, I think it could be the start of a big growth for choral music.
Mm,
This freeing up of pastime activities.
that would be wonderful. Also for the stress levels of people in general,
Yes.
the stress
Yeah.
level just goes down in the choir. And what advice would you give to young musicians dreaming of leading projects or ensembles?
It's really a learning by doing, and there will not be a time that is right. So it's just start today, it's better today than tomorrow. What
Yeah.
did you say? The best time to start was 10 years ago. The next best time is today.
Very good. That's a
Yeah.
very good one, actually. And what should every instrumentalist try at least once from the choir world?
There is something special about producing the sound yourself and not having the instrument as a middleman. So I think what really resonates with me, and it's funny that it called resonates, because to create resonance, like singing a perfectly tuned chord where you kind of feel like you are a part of the chord, that is something that I I think is achievable with an instrument, but it's something different when you feel the vibrations from your body producing that sound. I would wish for instrumentalists to try that once, to be a part of a perfectly tuned chord.
That's really nice. I do remember the feeling of choir, and I miss it. I miss it.
Mm.
It's and that's apropos this thing about the choir tradition in France. There's not that much. There are choirs, but it's not in the same way as in
Mm.
Denmark. So that is, I'm missing the perfectly tuned chords.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for this very enriching conversation, and
Thank you, Amelia.
it's been
It was
wonderful to
wonderful.
talk to you, and to get a bit of Danish input in the podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen with your Instagram with time and the development of choirs, travels, everything. And then I hope our students can get some inspiration from this authority you build up about leading ensembles and going for things and not being too scared of going for your
Yeah,
dreams.
for sure. For sure. Go and do it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amelia.